Okay, welcome back. You're going to notice this video is a little different. We're going to be looking at a stream of someone who casted me, and the reason is that's not me up in the top left, that's Prometheus here. I did not record this game, and the game actually patched the day after. So I played this game, I went to bed, and there was a patch already when I next got on the game, and so I was unable to get the replay for you guys either. And this was the only caster who reviewed these games, and so I'm going to be using his content. I asked him if it would be okay, and he very generously said it'd be no problem. And so I'm going to have his link to the to both his Twitch channel and to the VOD in the description. But he's going to be kind of doing the observing for us. But I really wanted to showcase this game that I played versus Denver. This was in our series for the Aerial Stormgate Cup. And the current score, despite it saying 0-0, I do believe it's... oh no, this is probably the first game. I was going to say maybe it was 1-0 for Denver already, but this might have been the first game. So, going into things, I'm going to try and explain kind of the current meta and everything. So, the best way to play is you start a worker, then you take 3 of your bobs when you have 150 and you build a barracks. And then, from there, you send those 3 workers onto Therium right away. And then you keep making workers, and you want to keep making dogs as well. And then once you are near the supply block, once you hit the supply block, you take another 3 workers and build a supply depot. Denver here, he's going for 4 on Therium. That is the better play. He's actually going for 5. 4 is the ideal number. I only did 3, so I go for a slightly later upgrade, but I try and go more aggressive with the dogs. So there are minor variations in it, but 4 is the ideal number. So you can see here, anytime Denver goes for the health cap, I'm going to immediately jump in and try and intercept him. If he starts that health cap, and I'm right nearby to intercept him and to try and attack his units, he's going to lose that pretty bad. There's going to be the damage of the creep camps, in addition to my dogs attacking. His AI might get messed up. He might be attacking the creeps instead of my dogs fully and all that sort of stuff. And so anytime he's kind of hanging around the health camp trying to take it, I'm just going to go right up to him. Once you get 100 Therium, you want to immediately upgrade to tier 2. So you can see there, I went up to tier 2, and Denver did the exact same thing. And then you want 50 Therium, and then that's for the tier 2 dog upgrade. So you want 150 total. Once you hit 100, you upgrade to your tier 2 command post, and then build your biokinetics lab while your tier 2 is upgrading. You can see here there's a bit of a fight. That's just kind of what I was talking about, which is anytime he goes for the health camp, I go and intercept. Once your biokinetics lab is done, you should have your 50 Therium, and you're just going to immediately start your upgrade. You want to upgrade your supply depot that you made earlier to a solar habitat right away too, and the goal is to get that upgrade out as fast as possible. You need it as fast as humanly possible. The person who gets the faster upgrades wins. You can see here Denver and I both got the upgrade at the exact same time. I think mine was a fraction of a second later. So he's going to take a slightly better trade, and I'm going to have to back off. It's no big deal. We both traded out some blows, and it wasn't a game-losing loss for me. So I'm just going to head back home. From here, you want to use your dogs. You want to promote them as much as you can to start. And then you want to use them to get as many creep camps as you can. So I'm just going to run up here, take the health camp. You can see Denver's taking the energy camp. He's a bit ahead of me in terms of creeping, and that's because I tried to ambush him and it didn't work. With the bonus money you're getting, you're going to add a second and a third barracks. So what you want to typically do is you want to have 3 workers build the second one, and then once that's complete, then you build the third one. You don't want to build them at the same time because you'll take a few too many workers off. You can see Prometheus here pointed out a mistake. I did not switch the solar habitat over to the dogs. You do want to do that. I do believe I do that shortly, so we'll check back in my base after. But you want to get that 15% bonus production on the dogs as well. And it's a bit of a mistake if you don't put the solar charge on it, but it's not game losing. So you can see here, Denver's going to be taking the camps. He did a bit of an invade on my watchtower camp, I got one of the creeps, he got the other one. Again, I'm not really stressed out about this. I'm going to be adding a fourth barracks, which is a hyper-aggressive play. Typically, you only want to do 3. If you're doing 4, you're pretty all in on the dogs. The correct transition out of dogs is into medtechs. And so, if you're going for 4 racks, you really don't have the money to be doing that. I'm going to come down here once I recon the watchtower, and I'm going to spot him trying to take my stuff. I am outnumbered in dogs, you'll notice, and you're going to be wondering, why am I both outnumbered in dogs and in, and he's got the upgrade faster and everything. That's mainly because he was able to take the creep camps a bit faster, and that he's got better tempo. And so if a player has better tempo than you, and it looks like you're outnumbered and all that sort of stuff, just play defensive. It's not mandatory that you go in and attack or anything like that. Try and get him to force a bad fight. I am going to be going and adding those medtechs that I talked about, but you're going to see some of my barracks there aren't producing entirely. That's mainly because I was having an issue with, how much resources you get. He is going to send one of his dogs there. I'm going to counter send a dog and take that one, but then he's going to send another one and promote that, so I'm just going to back out. He can have that. Not a huge deal. On those Luminite camps, there's one big guy and 2 small guys. And the small guys are tagged as light units, and the big guy is tagged as heavy. And so you can actually kill the 2 smaller guys on both Therium and Luminite camps right away. And you can get those bonus resources with the dogs. And you don't even have to kill the big guy. You can just kill the 2 small guys and walk away. It's not mandatory that you kill the whole camp. So you're going to see here Denver, he's got 4 medtechs. I've got 4 medtechs. I'm ready to move out on the map. I've had 4 barracks production while he's had 3. And so the difference is he opted to go for an expansion, and I went all in on production. You can see I swapped my solar habitat there for the record. I did manage to do that. He points that out. Very good. What a great caster. I'm going to be going for the hyper-aggressive play. So I both outnumber him in dogs, and we're matched in medtechs now. So here you can see my rally. I'm just going across the map and rallying. And he keeps showing my base, but there we go. So the fight's about to take place in a minute here. How the fight works is you want to get the most surface area humanly possible. So you want to spread your dogs out as much as possible before the fight starts. Don't be moving dogs when the fight starts. Once it starts, there's no moving from there. From there, you want to use Nano Swarm on tier 3 dogs only. You don't want to cast offensively, only defensively, and only on your tier 3 dogs. Don't cast them on tier 1 because they can get killed too quickly and the healing won't go off. But cast them on tier 3. And also, if someone casts offensively, so they cast the purple nanoswarm on your units, recast your nanoswarm on your guy defensively. So that it just ends up being healing instead. It'll cancel out the negative and add a positive onto it. You can see here I'm going to take a look around, and I do notice he's got a buzzsaw turret, so I can't engage into that. So I'm behind, but I'm not down nor out by any means. I've got a bit of a better army. I've got more dogs. He's adding in lancers and stuff, but I'm opting to just go straight for longer one base play and those medics. You can see now on the minimap, I just threw down my second base. But again, just because you're behind a little bit doesn't mean you're out by any means. I have assets in other places, like the army, that is significantly better. So I'm just going to be splitting my army up. I'm going to go try and take the camps. I actually neutral contest that camp by accident, just by running my units around. And you're going to see me pull the trick I talked about. So I'm going to kill the small guy, and then I'm going to kill the other small guy. He's not looking at it, but that's okay. I'm just going to kill the 2 small guys, and they're going to see me run away. I lied. I actually took the whole thing. I thought I only killed the 2 small ones. That's my bad. I was probably focusing on other things. So I'm also taking this camp back at home. You can see I'm re-adding my biokinetics lab. Typically the rule with the biokinetics lab is if you're behind with your creeping, so if you get less creep camps and you're behind, salvage it and build it back later. So you salvage it and you make it into dogs. If you're doing good, you keep it so that you can get faster tempo with your medtechs and the upgrade. I was behind, so I salvaged it. Now I've rebuilt it because I'm back on a pretty good pace. And I'm just going to be creeping, getting that middle camp. You can see Denver's kind of doing the same thing. Except Denver's going for a very fast third base. He's going very high economically, and he's got a lot of Lancers, and he is going into Exo, as am I. The only difference is I think my army comp's a bit better, because Lancers are helpful versus dogs, but then they become useless again versus Exos. So you can see there, again, we're going to split the camp. He's going to get one, I'm going to get one. And he's kind of on the offensive here, but he cannot fight nor win when I'm near a health camp. Never fight in a mirror matchup near a health camp, because you'll probably just end up dying, because that added bonus health is a lot, unless you significantly outnumber your opponent. He's going to try and take my camp there, and I'm actually going to intuit that he's doing that. I thought right away I should be taking my camp, and so I kind of went over there, and I'm going to push that away, and then he's going to come in with his split army, and he's actually going to be, I'm going to get this camp here real quick, but then he's going to try to be taking a fight. And I get into the energy field before I take the fight. So you're going to see how this goes down. You're going to notice me putting green nanoswarms on every purple I can. So I missed 1 or 2 on the backside. But because I'm in the energy camp, my medics are getting a ton of energy. It's just crazy how much they're getting. And so anytime he puts something purple, I immediately flip it back to green the best I can. So there's some that I missed on the other side, but most of them. The other major mistake he made here is he didn't control his Exos, and I did. So he let the whole fight just play out normally, and I controlled my Exos and focused down his Exos. That's the most important thing. Lancers, they don't do that much damage, and they're not that good. And so if you can kill the enemy Exos, you can win the game. The third thing that went very right there for me was the energy camp, of course. I had maybe, in total, maybe 200 or 300 extra energy compared to him that fight, because I stood in that camp. That camp is no joke. It gives a crazy amount of energy and all that sort of stuff. My units are going to do a bit of a bad split here, so I'm going to try and kite away. And meanwhile, Denver's got his third base up, and he's adding more. Again, just because you're behind in the bases in the mirror matchup does not mean you're necessarily behind. I have a way better army comp. We are matched in production, even though it doesn't seem like it. I believe it's 5 barracks to 5 barracks. He's got 3 there and 2 in the main, or maybe he's got 6. But my exo count is way, way higher, and that's a very important number to actually pay attention to. You can see here he's going to be adding workers, and on the other side I'm adding my workers to it. I'm just way behind, as he's pointing out. I am behind economically by a decent bit, but again, I do have a better exo ball. So I'm going to move back up here, and I'm going to retake that camp. I just took that Luminite camp on the bottom side. He's going to take his Luminite camp on the top side. Just going to heal up all my Exos. And I'm just making more Exos. Once it moves out of dogs, in the rare occasion that it does, you actually get to play Exo versus Exo, and eventually go into Tank Atlas. So you can see here I'm moving down the bottom side of the map. I'm going to be trying to kill a third base here. I'm actually moving down in the hopes that I scout a third base. I'm going to see he doesn't actually have anything there. So I'm going to go take the vision camp and move across the map on that side. In the meantime, he's got the exact same idea, except he's going to turn around once he sees me trying to take the camp. You can see my units with that vision camp, and so he's going to turn around and try and play defensive. And I'm just going to move up there. You can see me there. And I've just got a constant stream of Exos moving across the map. And here we go. Here comes the fight. So I shield. I use the shield ability on an Exo. Look how much damage he's tanking. That's probably over 500 damage he's tanking. Probably 600, 700 now. He actually, I think he blew through the whole shield before the fight ended, which means he took over 1,000 damage that fight. And so the shield is really good. Denver's going to step up here, but he actually doesn't have the numbers despite what he thinks. And I'm going to push this back significantly. Him stepping up was the problem. If he kept the high ground in that better arc, he might have been able to win. But the way he moved forward when he didn't quite have the number is what cost him there. He's going to overcharge and use his workers. Ignore the workers no matter what. You want to focus the Exos. The Exos are the ones doing the damage. So you can see me. I'm just kind of running around trying to avoid those Exos. I'm actually going to put a negative nanoswarm on it because that's going to do damage. And anytime a unit rallies out, I'm going to kill it instantly. And that's going to cause him some severe problems because now his production, I'm on top of his production. And anytime an Exo is popping out, I'm actually killing it. He's got an Atlas as well, so he teched up. That's why he was behind in the numbers. I'm going to tank a shot there, but I'm going to kind of brush it off. It only hit a few of my units. And I'm going to snipe the command post. The command post is probably the most important target, most expensive, kind of sets him back the longest, takes the most to make. And I notice these barracks are still making units, which means he's still producing exos, and they can get sniped just like that when they come out. That one exo made it out alive, but the other one, I sniped another one. He's actually going to end up salvaging all his barracks as a result, because he knows this is all dead, and he can't break my position. So just like I said before, just because you're behind in the economy does not mean you're behind in the army. And I took some better fights previously and came out with a higher exo count, and that allowed me to come out with a higher exo count here. He did not have enough time to let his economy scale all the way up, and so that's why that fight went in my favor. He was also teching up and adding a third base, while I wanted to stay on lower tier tech. He's got the Atlas evac here, and so I'm going to back up. And anytime there's Atlas evac, a single med tech shuts that entirely down, like totally. It just completely crushes it. Because all you need to do is hit Nanoswarm on the evac, and then it's forced to go home. He either needs to cast his own Nanoswarm, he needs to cast System Shock, or he needs to go home and get a constant repair. And so what you're going to see is I moved my medtech out there to threaten him, and he's going to have to back away, and he's actually going around to try and do some harassment. He set up a third base on a different side and had to set up all those barracks again, but he did keep the Ethereum camp there. I didn't even notice the scrapyard. So you're going to see what I'm talking about coming up here. I'm going to split my army once I see his evac, and boom, there's the Nanoswarm. He's now on an immediate timer. He has to go home or he's going to die. He's going to fly up there, but I actually split my exos for just this reason, and he's completely trapped. I also made a hangar base so I could go up to tier 3, and I knew he had Atlas evac, so I just made a Hornet, and the evac's going to die to the Nanoswarm, and with just a couple units, I'm going to go in and clean that up. And that is now 500, 500 for the two Atlases, and I think another 150 and 50 for the evac that I traded out for 0 units. I did not lose a single thing there, and that's just great. He did get some shots off on my workers, which killed all of those, but that's not a big deal because I can remake those. Definitely a good trade for me. That is one of your options when you're going for, when your opponent's going for Atlas evac, is to go into Hornets. Be aware that your opponent might make their own Hornets, like his own Hornets, and he might win that way. He might win in the air, and then he's got the Atlas evac, which outnumbers the Exos. Another response to that is System Shock. That's actually what I opt to go for in most games, and I actually really like System Shock, so I'm going to be going into it. I just get to use it so rarely, and so I was pretty excited about this game, and that's why I wanted to showcase it right away. Behind this, I'm going to be getting my third base. Denver's actually going to be stealing my Luminite camp, but I'm heading for my own creeps on this side. You can see I'm getting my health camp, and then now I'm grabbing the energy camp. And all the while, I'm just moving around the map. And I'm getting additional Hornets there, as you saw, and that's in case he goes Atlas evac again. And I'm just adding in additional workers. You can see I just transferred some workers there from Ethereum. I'm going to transfer them over to Luminite. And I've got this one working. And I don't have too much to do. I'm actually kind of focusing on my macro right now. This is a play I like to do as well, and I think this is pretty unique to me actually, is double biokinetics lab. And when I'm going up into tier 3, the reason I do this is because there's 2 upgrades I need, specifically for this matchup. I need the survival protocol, which is for exos, and for this match specifically, I need system shock, which is for the medics. In other matchups, I need the Lancer upgrade, which is kinetic redirection or whatever it's called, and then I need the tier 3 kinetic redirection ability that reduces the armor or damage they take from 4. So, and I also need the Exo upgrade in that matchup too. So in both matchups versus Infernal and in the Vanguard Mirror, I need 2, and I'm gonna get 2 biokinetics labs so I can research that as quickly as possible. This was actually a game-changing moment when I took the rocket camp. The rocket automatically targets the nearest enemy unit or structure. And so you're going to see there it was moving downward on the minimap, and it's going to go back up because that structure finished and start bombarding that. And I'm going to look on the map where it was going, and I'm going to notice he's got a base there. And that's a very aggressive forward base. Usually you want to take the one on the right side, but he opted to take that forward one. And so I'm going to move with my army to intercept. You might notice, I've got some dogs in my army still, Those are actually just for tanking. They tank a couple shots. They're better than Lancers in my opinion. Lancers are armored, and so Exos deal bonus damage to them. But as it is, my Hornets are going to get there first because they can fly, and he's going to take an evac and try and boost the units up there. The observer's looking around a lot, but there is an evac. Okay, I did kill the evac. So he moved some units, some Exos up there with the evac, and my Hornets managed to kill it before those Exos killed anything. And so Denver's going to opt for a counterattack here. Very risky move. My army was moving down south in thinking that I was going to be fighting him there, but he's going for the counter, and I'm actually going to have my army split in half here. This is going to work in my advantage, but unintentionally. He's going to split his army too. He's going to have half of it attacking, half of it not. And the reason it's going to split in my advantage is because I've got a great army positioning here. I'm going to use the Graven Sticky Bomb, and this is also something I'm proud to say I'm the only one who does this in the game, is use Gravens to use Sticky Bomb. I use it in both matchups, and you saw there I absolutely shredded him because he could not kite. He was missing part of his army, but the Graven Sticky Bomb, you're going to see I throw it again here. There it is. It actually bugged and didn't go off, but that's fine because I've just got so much more than him at this point. So what happened in that fight was the Graven Sticky Bomb prevented his ability to move out of the game, and also he said my shield doesn't work. It was actually my System Shock. I System Shocked his shield, and System Shock, remember, it both cleanses negative debuffs, but it also cleanses enemy buffs. So Nano Swarm, and it would clear Protocol, Survival Protocol, and also it clears the shield. And so I System Shocked my units to give them the speed boost while also throwing a Graven Sticky Bomb at him. I had a great surround. Half of his army wasn't attacking. Thanks for watching.